Hello everyone, Mr. No Souls here, and today I have something that just came in. It is my Player's Handbook Physical Edition, so my players will be using that when we're at the table to actually talk through and look at things. But I also have my Dungeon Master Guide. I of course have the online version as well, which, costed a good bit, but it will be helpful, so I am looking forward to getting some time to actually dig through this thing in entirety. But for right now, we are going to be talking about the Barbarian, your angry boys and girls that are here to tank and do some damage. They also now have some interesting CC abilities that they didn't have in previous editions. And right here off the bat, this is all the things you get base by being a barbarian, not just the subclasses. So your primary ability is strength. Your hit point die is a d12, which is what you're going to be rolling whenever you level up to get more health. Your saving throws are going to be or saving throws proficiencies are going to be strength and constitution. And you get to choose two of these as skill proficiencies right out the gate, which is animal handling, which helps you calm down or train animals, athletics, allowing you to jump further, stay afloat in rough water, break things, intimidation, allowing you to intimidate people, nature, allowing you to recall lore about terrain, plants, animals, and weather, perception, allowing you to notice things that other people might have missed, or survival, allowing you to survive or track things in wilderness environments. You also gain proficiencies in simple and martial weapons, light, medium, and shields. Note that raging often has detriments when you're in armor. You prefer to be in no armor, but you do have the ability to wear light and medium. There also is the starting equipment, and you have two choices of groups. The first is you get a great axe, 4 hand axes, explorer's pack, as well as 15 gold pieces. Or alternatively, you can choose 75 gold pieces and purchase your starting supplies from there. I often go with the 75 gold pieces as or I generally just take straight money as my preferred method, um, because I can then have more flexibility in what my kit is and thematics. But this is a really good way just to start out quickly. Great Axe, it gives you cleave. I don't see if it calls out how much damage it does here. Then the hand axe is a vex, so if you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to a creature, you gain advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. So there we go. Barbarians are mighty warriors who are powered by primal forces of the multiverse that manifest as rage. They are not mere emotion. They are not limited to anger. This rage is an incarnation of Predator's ferocity, a storm's fury, a sea's turmoil. Some barbarians personify their rage as fierce spirits or revered forebears. Go on further to talk about that, but we're not going to spend too much time on it. At level 1, you're getting the core barbarian traits table. You're also gaining the barbarian's level 1 features that are listed in the barbarian feats table. When you multi-class, you get their hit die, their proficiencies with martial weapons, and their training with shields. Note you do not get light and medium weapon proficiencies if you multi-class into barbarian. Gaining barbarian level 1 features, which are listed in the barbarian feature table. So, what are the features? That is everything here. Just going to real quickly point out you only have 2 rages at the start, but once you hit 3rd level you get a 3rd, once you hit 6th level you get a 4th, and then it just keeps going up. Well, not really keeps going up, it slightly increases. There is quite a delay. The rage damage bonus is used for quite a few different things, from calculating spells to determining how many dice you have in some cases. Mostly it isn't that big of an improvement all the way through. 1 to 20, you start off with 2, and then at the end you end up with 4. It's not really much of an improvement going up. And weapon mastery, this is giving you some very particular bonuses. We'll talk about weapon mastery later on. Okay, 1. Rage. You can imbue yourself with a primal power called Rage, a force that grants you extraordinary might and resilience. You can enter this as a bonus action if you aren't wearing heavy armor. So if you multi-class in it, you normally wear heavy armor, you can't rage. Just something to note. You can enter a rage number of times shown on your Barbarian level in the rage column in the Barbarian feature table. So that was the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You gain 1 on a short rest. You gain all on a long rest. While active, your rage follows the rules below. You gain damage resistance, which is resistance to bludgeon, piercing, and slashing damage. And that is you have whatever source of damage it is rounded down. The resistance is only applied once in an instance of damage. So, if you, for instance, had bludgeoning damage resistance from 2 different things, you wouldn't have it, then have it again. It would only be applied once. You get rage damage when you make an attack using strength. So if you have a dex weapon, it does not apply. It's only if you're using strength. It is the weapon or the unarmed strike. You deal damage to the target. You gain bonus to that damage that increases as you level as a barbarian, as shown on the rage damage column. So I believe that's 2 right out the gate. Yeah, it doesn't improve that much, as I said. You have advantage on strength checks and saving throws. You have no concentration or spells unless you have like the spells, quote unquote, that your subclasses give you, but they're not really spells. They are their own thing. You do have a couple rituals that you can use outside of raging, though. Okay, duration. The rage lasts until the end of your next turn, and it ends early if you don heavy armor, or if you have the incapacitated condition. Your rage is still active on your next turn, and you can extend it by doing the following: making an attack roll against the enemy, forcing the enemy to make a saving throw, or taking a bonus action to extend your rage. So you can, if you're not able to get to your enemy, you can use your bonus action to be able to rage. However, then you can't dash, you can't disengage, you can't do your fancy little moves or anything like that. You're just continuing your rage, which is useful. The other thing is you could burn that to then be able to dash, to be able to then hit them with your attack roll so you can take them out or something like that, or continue your rage. There's a couple different ways you can use this, but it's not that hard of a relegation. Each time the rage is extended, it lasts until the end of your next turn, and you can retain a rage for up to 10 minutes, which is more than enough for most combat encounters. Unarmored defense. This is how your AC is calculated when you're not wearing any armor. Your armor class is equal to 10 plus your dexterity and constitution modifiers. So you get a pretty big increase if you have high dex and high constitution. Weapon mastery. Your training with weapons allows you to use the mastery property of 2 kinds of simple or martial weapons of your choice, such as great axes and hand axes. When you reach barbarian levels, you gain the ability to use mastery properties of more kinds of weapons shown in weapon masteries in the barbarian feature. So these are like your cleave, which allows you to hit multiple enemies, your graze, which has a chance to turn misses, you can deal damage. This is like pushing, which is knocking enemies 10 feet away. This is giving creatures disadvantage. This is slowing things, toppling them, so on and so forth. You get 2 of them right out the gate that you can swap when you rest. Okay, we don't need those. Also on the second level, you gain danger sense. You gain an uncanny sense when things aren't as they should be, giving you an edge to dodge those perils, which is effectively advantage on dexterity saving throws, as long as you're not incapacitated, which is useful. It helps you get out of the way of the fireballs. Next, you get the Reckless Attack. Reckless Attack allows you to effectively gain advantage on an attack at the cost of defense. In that I mean everything gains advantage attacking you till your next turn. Some people just always reckless attack though, because a d20 is a d20. At level 3, you gain a subclass. We'll discuss those at a later point. You also gain Primal Knowledge, which allows you to use your rage to channel power when you attempt certain tasks. And whenever you make an ability check using one of the following skills, you can use it as a strength check instead of it being a charisma or a wisdom check. It's pretty powerful. So your acrobatics, your intimidation, your perception, stealth, and survival all of a sudden become stealth checks or strength checks. Sorry, that is pretty wild. At level 4, you get an ability score improvement, and you get them again at 8, 12, and 16. So that is putting 1 point into your strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. At level 5, you gain an extra attack. At also level 5, you gain an extra 10 feet while you are not wearing heavy armor. At level 7, you gain Feral Instincts, which gives you advantage on initiative rolls. You also gain Instinctive Pounce, which, as a bonus action, when you enter your rage, you can move up to half your speed. So the second you rage, you can already be engaging your enemy effectively. It effectively means that as long as you are using a bonus action to enter rage, you get extra movement free. At level 9, you gain Brutal Strike. If you use Reckless Attack, you can forego any advantage. So instead of getting advantage, you instead. Also, you cannot have disadvantage on the swing. Instead, you can just give it a straight 1d10 extra damage. That is pretty useful. Forceful Blow. You also gain 2 possible effects you can put on things. Forceful Blow knocks an enemy 15 feet away from you in a straight line. You then get to move half your speed straight at that target without provoking attacks of opportunity. So that's a really good way to single out a target. Hamstringing Blow reduces that target's movement speed by 15%, stopping them from running, or sorry, not 15%, 15 feet, stopping them from running away. It's very strong if you're trying to keep an enemy from disengaging. The next thing that we have is level 11, Relentless Rage. Your rage can keep you fighting despite being injured. So effectively, even if you hit 0, you have to succeed a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. And if you succeed, your hit points are changed equal twice your Barbarian level. So at level 11, you get 22 HP if you succeed. And each time you use this feature, the DC increases by 5. That means that it will go to 15, 20, 25, so on and so forth. But the second you rest, it will go back to that DC 10. That's a pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, at level 13, you get the improved Brutal Strike. You get 2 new abilities when you Brutal Strike, which is giving your targets disadvantage on the next saving throw they make. They also lose the ability to do attacks of opportunity until their next turn. And then Sundering Blow, which is very useful against large targets with high AC. You effectively are reducing that AC by 5 for the next person to attack them, greatly increasing their chance to hit them in some cases. So, well worth it. But you get this at level 13. And this is a base, so this is on top of everything else you'll be getting with a subclass. These are just free things you can do when you hit them. At 15, you gain Persistent Rage. When you roll an initiative, you gain all expended uses of Rage. After you regain the Rage this way, you can't do so again until a long rest. But at this point, I think you have 5 Rages? 15. Yeah, you have 5 Rages. So if you use it on the last one, you then effectively have 10 Rages, assuming you're not consuming your Rages for other special abilities or other things like that. Very powerful. However, you have to be cognizant of how much you're going to be using your Rage for other resources at points. It also lasts now for 10 minutes without you needing to do anything, so you no longer have to consume your bonus action to maintain it if you don't hit something. Level 17, Brutal Strike. Your Brutal Strike now does 2d10, and you also cause 2 different Brutal Strike effects if you use this. So you can hamstring them and knock them away at the same time, and then you get the movement speed and everything else. At level 18, you gain Indomitable Might. If your total for a strength check or strength saving throw is less than your strength score, so let's say you have an 18 of strength score, and you, due to debilitations and other things cast on you, had a 1 for your strength, it would automatically default to that 18. It's a great way to protect yourself from a lot of annoying effects on strength checks. It also effectively just allows you to pass a lot of really basic things. It's not broken per se, but it is useful. At 19, you gain Epic Boon, which is a bunch of buffs that you can get. The thing is like there's a huge list of them. They recommend Boon of Irresistible Offense. We're going to have to talk about this at a later point. It is an entirely another subject. And at level 20, you get Primal Champion, which increases your strength and constitution scores by 4 to a maximum of 25. That's a huge increase. That is a massive increase to your tankiness. That is a massive increase to your damage. Here we start going into the Barbarian subclasses, and the very first one is your bread and butter Berserker. This is your individual that just loves to go into the heart of the battle, wants to swing as many times as possible, wants to just go in there and do damage. The first thing that they are going to be getting is Frenzy. If you use Reckless Attack while your rage is active, you deal extra damage to your first target you hit on your turn with a strength-based attack. Note, strength-based, dexterity weapons again do not have any benefit here. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6 equal to your rage damage bonus. So it starts off at 2, it eventually becomes 4. That's not bad. That is definitely something that's great, but it doesn't scale like massively. Add them together, the damage has the same type as your weapon or unarmed strike. At the 6th level, you have immunity from the Charmed and Friend conditions while your rage is active, effectively allowing you to break mind control, which is very respectable. You can do a lot with this ability. At level 10, Retaliation. If you take damage from a creature within 5 feet of you, you can take a reaction to make 1 melee attack against that creature using a weapon or unarmed strike, which, again, you can use Reckless Attack on the retaliation to get that extra damage very quickly. It's quite powerful. That has really good synergy between the two. And then finally, at level 14, you gain the Intimidating Presence. As a bonus action, you can strike terror into others with your menacing presence and primal powers. You get to do a 30-foot emanation, which is a bubble around yourself, of a wisdom DC 8 plus your strength modifier and proficiency bonus. On a failed save, they become frightened, which gives them disadvantage and does not allow them to approach you. If they're a melee combatant, this can literally stop them from getting into a fight. It's huge. And it lasts for 1 minute or until they save that throw on their turn. And they will keep doing that save until that minute passes or they succeed. This can't be done again until you long rest or after you expend more rages in order to do it again. And remember, you get a total of at level 26, and you get 5 at the point where you're using this. So you could quickly burn through them, but with a good team, you really shouldn't be in such a high risk needing all your intimidating presences in a fight. Next is the Path of the Wild Heart. This is a class I think that is really interesting. At level 3, you immediately get Beast Sense, which when you touch them, you gain the ability to perceive reality through their senses, and they can go off and effectively like scout for you. This is a very strong option. And then you also have Speak with Animals. Both of these are rituals, but I think this is relatively, simple. You can verbally communicate with animals and you can understand what they're saying. Doesn't make them understandable sometimes if they're not particularly bright, but you can talk to them. They are only rituals, which means they're not particularly useful in combat, and wisdom is a spellcasting modifier for that. So you wouldn't want to use wisdom as your dump stat. Maybe you would consider using your intelligence or your charisma, but wisdom would not be one of your dump stats if you're going down this direction. Rage of the Wilds is your level 3 upgrade as well that you get, and with that you have 3 forms. The first being the bear form, and that gives you resistance, which halves the damage that you're taking, rounded down on force, necrotic, psychic, and radiant, except for force, necrotic, psychic, and radiant. You have resistance to everything else other than these 4 things. You also have the Eagle, which when you activate your rage, you can take the disengage and dash actions as part of your bonus action while your rage is active. So you can take a bonus action to take both of those actions. That's pretty huge. So you can disengage and dash in one bonus action. If you are not able to close in on something with that, something has gone wrong or you have been seriously outplayed. Next is the Wolf. While you're raging, allies have advantage on attack rolls against enemies within 5 feet of you. That is very good if you're surrounded by a horde. That is a good way to help hit a large target that has a high AC. Once you have the Sundering Strike ability, you can reduce their AC even more, so then you're giving them even larger amounts of a safety buffer where they're going to be able to damage targets. It's an extremely strong ability. All 3 of these are extremely strong. This is more for tanking, this is more for engaging, this is more for supporting your allies. At level 6, this is not always available. You effectively pick one of these 3 and add it to the library of 3 that you already have available to you at all times. That is the Owl, which gives you 60 feet of dark vision, or if you already have 60 feet, gives you an additional 60 feet, up to 120 feet. Then you have the Panther, which gives you climbing speed equal to your speed, or the Salmon, which gives you swim speed equal to your speed. You swap these out on long rests, so you have quite a bit of flexibility to augment how you're fighting. If you're in a really vertical area, you can climb up it. If you're in a area underwater, this can be more useful than anything else because it'll allow you to get to your targets in water. If you're in a place that is very dark and you're going to have disadvantage fighting down there, you can use this to be able to fight more normally with this. At level 10, you gain the Nature Speaker, which allows you to cast the Commune with Nature spell, allowing you to determine where people are, where certain types of animals are. You can find like the Fae. Right here it says Celestial Elementals, Fae, Fiends, and Undead. You can also find out what type of plants, minerals, and beasts are in the area, up to 3 miles, I believe. Yeah, and inside caves it has a radius limit of 300 feet. But it doesn't work if you're in constructions like castles and settlements. So if it's not a native environment, it's not as useful. But outside, it can be a very powerful tracking spell. At level 14, Power of the Wilds, whenever you activate your rage, you gain one of the following. So again, this adds on to the library of always available creatures that you can activate as. You can use Falcon, which when you activate it, you gain flying speed as if you aren't wearing any armor. So that's quite useful. It I have kind of a mixed feeling on it because effectively the Falcon pretty much is just a straight improvement over the Panther. So if you're able to fly, why would you burn anything to select the Panther? At that point, you just only really consider using the Owl or the Salmon. And in actuality, you could use just magical items to be able to gain those 3 effects without that much of an like I have mixed feelings on the level 6. I don't think it's bad. I think it's very good. The issue is just there are a lot of ways to achieve these, so they're not necessarily the strongest um, upgrades at level 6. But at level 14, you gain the ability to fly if you rage like this. Flying allows you to give enemies within 5 feet of you disadvantage on attack rolls against anything else other than yourself. And if there's another barbarian that's also in lion rage, they will protect you with that same feat. Ram gives you the ability to make large or smaller creatures to go prone if you hit them with a melee attack. That is very powerful. Like all these are just immensely powerful. I really like the path of the wild heart. I think this is really cool role playing possibilities in this. Now, path of the world tree is a very interesting one because effectively you are communing with Yggdrasil, which is the world tree that all the worlds, metaverse, everything is connected to. It is the pathway between all of them, or most of the pathways, I think. At level 3, you gain Vitality of the Tree, which is right out the gate when you choose this feature. You gain Vitality Surge, and when you activate your Rage, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your Barbarian level. So you immediately gain an Overshield. Then, on the start of each turn, while your Rage is activated, you choose another creature within 10 feet of yourself and give them temporary hit points. So you are effectively giving other people a refreshing shield every time you have a turn. So you're protecting people and making it more difficult to damage them. And to determine that number of temporary hit points, you roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. So it starts as 2d6, eventually becomes 3, and then ends at 4d6. That's not bad. What was it, 12 till 24? That's a pretty good overshield potential. If these temporary hit points remain while the rage ends, it vanishes. So it is not permanent. It will not necessarily help you around traps or other things like that after combat. It is only there while the barbarian is raging. Level 6, Branch of the Tree. Whenever a creature you can see starts its turn within 30 feet of you, so doesn't necessarily have to be an enemy, can be an ally. If it starts a turn within 30 feet of you and you are raging, you can consume a reaction and summon spectral branches of the world tree around it. The target then must succeed a strength saving throw of a DC 8 plus whatever your strength modifier is, which is your primary stat, is probably going to be the highest, plus then your proficiency bonus. And if they fail, they will be teleported to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 feet of you, or in the nearest unoccupied space you can see. So you can default to that, or you can choose an unoccupied space that is very close to you if you cannot pick that 5-foot option. Then after that target teleports, you can reduce its speed to 0. So you can pretty much say, oh, you're going to try to kill my healer? Nope, you're going to come party next to me today. Very powerful move. That is a very strong CC opportunity. In every turn, whenever you have a refresh on your reaction, that's giving you another ability of, oh, you're partying with me. No, you're partying with me. You're partying with me. You're not messing with my backline. That is very powerful. At level 10, you gain Battering Roots, which gives you reach of 10 feet with any melee weapon that has a heavy property or versatile. So heavy are weapons that require at least 13 strength or 13 dexterity to use. Versatile are weapons that can be one or two hand. and these will extend from you and hit anybody that you can hit with those weapons when you have that 10-foot reach, and you gain the ability to push that target 10 feet in a straight line away from you, or topple that target where they have to do a DC 8 plus the ability modifier used to make the attack roll and your proficiency bonus, which would be strength. On a failed save, that creature is knocked prone. That's pretty great. And since you already are going to have your multi-attack bonus, if you do this your first time, you could then follow up and hit them while they're on the ground. At level 14, you get a ridiculous ability called Travel Along the Tree. And when you activate your rage as a bonus, while your rage is active, you can teleport 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. Your bonus action becomes an effective teleport of up to 60 feet. That is extremely powerful. It also denies any attack of opportunities because you're teleporting directly to a location. Note, there also is no failure component or casting a spell, it just occurs. In addition, once per rage, you can increase the range of your teleport to 150 feet. And when you do this, you also are able to bring up to six willing creatures within 10 feet of you. So they have to be close by, but you can take 6 people 150 feet. And you don't necessarily have to use this for engage. You can use this for disengage. This is a very powerful option to be able to escape really bad situations if you still have it available, or to get into a fight with the front line. Each creature teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice within 10 feet of the destination. You choose where they land. So, Path of the Zealot. Rage and ecstatic union with the gods. So this is kind of interesting. This is like your holy fighter. They are more in line with a paladin. I think that they're a very interesting choice. They gain Divine Fury right at the start, which gives them on each turn the first creature you hit with a weapon or on arm strike takes extra damage to 1d6 plus half your barbarian level rounded down. And it is taken either as necrotic or radiant, and you get to pick which is very useful. This 1d6 with half your level rounded down is quite powerful. It might not be as strong as a Fury right out the gate, but I think it can surpass the Fury later on. You also gain Warrior of the Gods. So you have a pool of D12s that a Divine God has given you to spend on healing yourself. As a bonus action, you can expend one of these dies by rolling them and then regaining a number of hit points equal to the roll's total. So you effectively have, 24 extra health possibly sitting in a backup pool, and you can roll those on yourself. Your pool regains all expended die when you finish a long rest. Your pool improves when you reach level 6, level 12, and level 17. You then gain Fanatical Focus at level 6, and once per rage, if you fail a saving throw, you can re-roll it with a bonus of your rage damage bonus. But you must use this new roll. So if you roll a 1, you effectively can roll again with a flat modifier on top of it. At 10, you gain Zealous Presence. As a bonus action, you will unleash a battle cry infused with divine energy, and up to 10 other creatures of your choice within 60 feet of you gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the end of the next turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a use of rage. Effectively, this is another Fury path, except instead of being all about doing damage and sticking in there and resisting mind altering effects and stuff like that, this is more about sustaining yourselves and staying in the fight, and then being able to keep yourself going longer, and harder, and buffing your allies with advantage instead of giving your enemies disadvantage. So, very strong, very interesting. At level 14, you gain Rage of the Gods, which is effectively a divine avatar form. When you activate your Rage, you can assume the form of a divine warrior for 1 minute or until you drop to 0 hit points. And once you use this feature, you can't do so again until long rest. While you're in this form, you gain flying and hovering. You gain resistances to necrotic, psychic, and radiant, which is similar to the bear form. Well, it's similar to an inverse of the bear form, except the bear form also has weakness to force. Then you have revivification. When a creature is within 30 feet of you, would drop to 0 HP, you take a reaction to instead return them to life with the hit points to a number equal to the Barbarian level. So at level 20, you return them with 20 HP. But you can do this every turn with a reaction. That is huge. That is immensely powerful and giving your team sticking power even in the face of very powerful opponents. You're effectively able to do a lot to just be in there and hit them as hard as you can. Granted, it doesn't really give you any extra damage straight up, but it does give you really good utility and flexibility to get into a situation. So, I really like this one. I think it has a really cool role playing effect. But, anyways, guys, that is the Barbarian. It is a tanky, forward focused, damage dealing class that some options give you CC and debuffs. Overall, I think it is a lot of fun, potentially, and great role playing capability. I wish you all a good day, and please remember to like this. And if you have any recommendations on how I can improve my videos, please let me know. Thank you very much again. Have a good one, everyone. Adios.